Hey, it's Carpo again. I'm going to read a couple more out of this book here. This one's called On Bluffing by Sidney Shalett, journalist and author. The quote is, "They always talk who never think." I like this one. Rare indeed is the person who has never committed the folly of talking before thinking. As a young reporter, I remember an old editor who used to tell me never to be ashamed to confess ignorance. Never try to cover up lack of knowledge by glib patter. The wise man used to recall how he had learned the lesson the hard way. Once, as he told it, while crossing the Atlantic, he was approached by a fellow passenger. "I just wanted to tell you," the man said, and it was obvious he was speaking with considerable emotion, "how deeply I appreciated your message." Now, the editor could not recall any occasion for the message. In fact, he could not even place the man who seemed so grateful. But rather than admit he was at a loss, he said rather grandly, "Oh, that's all right. I was glad of the opportunity to send it." Naturally, he was puzzled when the other man turned absolutely white and left abruptly without another word. On making discreet inquiries, the old editor confessed, "I learned that I knew the man indeed, and that the message I had been so glad to send him had been one of condolence on the recent death of his wife." How many of us have been similarly shamed by stupid errors on the tongue? How many potential friends have we alienated by tactless, hair-trigger references to death, divorce, physical peculiarities, or other delicate subjects, spoken without thought in the presence of others whose backgrounds we were strangers? How easy to avoid all this by thinking first, talking later. After all, even the clam has a better reputation than the magpie. I like that one a lot. I'm going to read this one. I'll just do two of them at a time here. This one's called On Selfishness by John Mason Brown, critic and author. "This is the true joy in life, the being used for a purpose, recognized by yourself as a mighty one, the being thoroughly worn out before you are thrown in the scrap heap, the being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little cloud of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy." George Bernard Shaw wrote that. That's from the preface to Man and Superman. What happiness is, no person can say for another. But no one, I am convinced, can be happy who lives only for himself. The joy of living comes from immersion in something, more accurately, anything, that we know to be bigger, better, more enduring, and worthier than we are. People, ideas, causes, above all, continuities. These offer the one possible escape, not merely from selfishness, but from the hungers of solitude and the sorrows of aimlessness. No person is as uninteresting as a person without interests. The pitiful people are those who, in their living, elect to be spectators rather than participants. The tragic ones are those sightseers who turn their backs deliberately on the procession. Existence is a strange bargain. Life owes us little. We owe it everything. The only true happiness comes from squandering ourselves for a purpose. Take care, everybody.